I don't think I caught all of that, but that was a very loud bang. You could hear the echo probably. I don't know if I caught the initial sound. But I'm here in Newport. I just got to my campsite and the sun's going down. It's almost 5:30-ish, I think. I'm going to keep the camera rolling, see if I could catch another one. It wasn't just like a firework, like the way it echoed. I mean, it sounds like something crazy. Sounds like a cannon, or not a cannon. You know, like the 20 millimeter type ordnance. But there was no secondary, bang. So who knows? Come on, one more. Give me one more. Just so I could get it on camera. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what that is. It ain't fireworks, trust me. Definitely not fireworks. But it doesn't have the sound of like a plugged explosion. By which I mean it has like a bullet in front of it, because it's more of a pop when it's like that. This sounds like something open. That's the best way I could describe it. I'll try to get one more on camera. Or on audio, I should say. There's really nothing to see but the skyline there. And my campsite is up it's on the coast in Newport, but it's up in the hills, like the first set of foothills for the coastal mountains. And I did that on purpose just in case there's a tsunami. And if there's one big enough to come up here, I mean, God help us all if that's the case. Alright, my peoples, so look what we have here. This is going to be my new campsite. I'm building a semi-permanent shelter, and this is part of a tent that I scavenged from the garbage lying around. There seems to have been tweakers past camping here. It looks to be a couple years ago, but I wanted to share that this is the easiest way I know of putting up a semi-permanent shelter. And basically I chose a spot that has lots of saplings behind it, so gathering the materials would be easy. And I'm only using 3. I'm going to do another one. I'm about halfway there, probably about here. I'm going to extend it past this tarp, and just to minimize the amount of live wood that I'm cutting down and harvesting. And the rest, I'm going to do cross members, kind of like this one that's dead. So I'm going to use dead fallen wood for the rest of it. But don't bother with paracord and tying knots. Just use duct tape. It holds for at least a few years. At least 2, I should say. But I've built my other platform bed that I made a while back. I forget. I think it's on the 4th of July video. I called it 4th of July. That structure was made, at least the parts that were bent, with duct tape, and I used rope for the rest of it. But then I figured, hey, duct tape works better. It's easier. It's, you could deploy it quickly. You bend the branches where you want it and tape it up, and it's done. So I'm going to do the third arch. So obviously it's not perfect. It looks worse on camera. But, it lines up pretty good. So I'm going to get a tarp, but not just a tarp. I found that painter's tarps, there's just simple plastic sheeting, is much cheaper per square foot than, your normal camping tarps, the blue tarps or the brown tarps that you might find. So to get one big enough to cover this, it would probably take only like $20 tops. And to buy a tent that's this big would cost you about $200. Do the math. Anyway, I'm gonna continue working. I'm also digging an ish pit the way I've always done it, by hand with my knife. You just scrape out a little dirt at a time and scoop it out. So I want to make it a little deeper. It's almost done. So this is where I am right now, my little temporary camp. And I got my little bed platform there. And these tarps I found, so I'm going to use those to cover the sides of the new shelter so that there's a little bit of privacy. And then I'll get a clear tarp. This is what I was talking about, the painter's tarp. Because these tents are not waterproof. If you just set them up, they might stave off, a little drizzle. But the way it rains around here, if you don't have it covered, it's going to soak through. So this has served me well, but it's small. I'm tired of kind of ducking and squatting around and having to crawl into the door. I mean, it's very short. Like, this is about eye level for me. So it's very, very short. And this I found here, and that chair I found here, this bucket and some other tarps and rope. And this is the aftermath of the last people that were here. Definitely gonna use those dustpans. And there's a little more garbage up there, and up the hill that way is a bucket with a lot of poop in it. It's overflowing with water, and I don't know what to do with it. But here's another reality. This is why I said tweakers past. You guys can tell what those are. Anyway, I guess that closes it out for now. I wanted to show you where I'm at, and I'll probably do a clip when I'm all done here. I'm not going to show the process I was going to. It's pretty straightforward, though. I mean, you don't even need the tarp. You can have a dirt floor. Find yourself some pallets. I found these in town. I had to wait about a month, As I was walking around town, I would keep my eyes open. I didn't want to steal pallets from Walmart, which they have plenty. So if you're just patient and watch all the businesses and stuff, eventually I found these out on the curb. So I loaded them onto a shopping cart, tied them down, and with what I call the hobo pickup truck, and brought them over to the park here. It was a pain in the butt. I had to carry each one separately from the entrance all the way up here, which is about 200 yards. So that was like a whole day in itself. I was going to get a shovel and, really level it off and make it almost dug in a little bit. Then I went to price them at the store, and little tiny shovel was $30-something, and a shorter flat nose shovel was like 20-something. I'm like, nah, no way. Might as well buy a tent. Here she is, and I'm going to keep working on her. And it's going to be a nice, comfortable place. As you can see, made sure the bed platform is nice and wide in case I have an emergency guest, or I don't mean, oh, a lady, well, it could be, but, I'm talking about someone that needs help and needs to get out of the elements. And I'll be leaving my other tent up as a guest tent as well. I forgot to mention that I had to pick live saplings, but most of you might know this, but in case someone doesn't know, they have to be alive so that you could bend them, because if you tried to bend dead sticks, they would just snap. And as these cure and dry, they're gonna just hold that form. And also, instead of a shovel to level this area, I just used a tent stake and kind of scraped the ground and loosened the dirt, and then brushed it away and did it, kind of carefully and slowly until it was pretty much level. And this is not completely level, but it doesn't matter, because once I start polishing it all up, I can just shove cardboard in between the layers to make it as level as I need it. I mean, it seems pretty good now, but in my experience, setting up these pallet beds, you think it's level until you sleep your first couple nights on it, and then you realize, oh, it's leaning to the left, or my head's higher than my feet, or something like that. All right, my people, so here's what we got so far. The frame is pretty much done. I want to maybe put another cross member there, but it's all done with duct tape. I'm starting to get a little low on duct tape, so I want to save a little bit in case I need it. But I'll pick up another roll. But it's basically a little mini longhouse. I mean, this thing actually came out better than I thought it would. So eventually I want to get a carpet and I'll put it there. You know, after I cover it, I'm going to go purchase a tarp at my earliest convenience. So I'll probably call it here for the day, and I'll finish digging my pit. I wanted to mention, in order to get the base into the ground, what I did was found this brick here in the woods, and I made a stake, and I staked it down to a certain depth, and then kind of twisted it back out so it left a hole. And then I inserted the poles into that hole so I could bend them into shape and tape them together. All right, my peoples. So it's the next day. Here's the it's not the finished product, but got the tarps up, and I ended up buying two 10 by 20 painter's tarps, and these are it's only 1 mil thick. It's very thin, so it's fragile. But then I had these tarps that I found at an abandoned campsite here. So they were big enough to cover the top and the front and the back. Let me go around back so you can see. So here we are around back, and you can see that the thin tarps cover almost to the floor. And I have the camo tarp going all the way down so that there's a little overlap there. And as you can see, this is still in the works. I'm going to get some more to cover the whole area, but that's going to keep it down from the wind, because we do get some crazy windstorms up here on the coast. And especially this area, I'm going to cover that with dirt as well. Just button it up a little more. Let me take you back around front. There's some things I want to do to this yet. This chair, I think I've already mentioned it. I found that. And I might put it inside, but let me take it in here. So, a few things I want to change. Got kind of a mess in here right now. There's my lunch from yesterday. So there's the bed platform. There's plenty of space to put my pack and my guitar, or another person if need be. Clear that out. And as you can see, the frame makes a handy place to put my light and hang my gloves, my work gloves. And I found these hangers too, abandoned at the campsite, and I'll use those to hang my clothes if I need to dry my clothes. Also found this bin. And there's another bin I'm going to put here that I found at this campsite as well that was abandoned. So this is kind of like my utility. It's got my tools and just all random stuff I need for camp. And then the other bin it has a cover on it. I have to clean it out, collect it and clean it out. And I'm going to put my food in there. So right now this is kind of where my food is. I have dry, storable food. Kind of my emergency food. It's probably about a week's worth, and it's just like ramen noodles and dehydrated rice and canned fish and things like that. And this bucket, so I use the bucket. It's not poop, and don't worry, I use the bucket to collect the dirt to put around the edge, so I have to go clean that out. But yeah, I mean, that's lots of places to hang stuff. Got my little watch up there. It was given to me by somebody in Salem. It's a cheap little Walmart watch, nothing special. So I have it here in case my phone dies, which hardly ever does. Usually I get to town and charge it, because I use my phone for everything. My light, my communication, my entertainment, and check the time. And I don't really carry a flashlight other than my cell phone. Over the years, I've learned that all you really need is a cell phone. And even if you don't have a light, if you're hiking at night, as long as you do it, slow and steady and watch your step, and it's possible to hike even on the darkest nights. So the plan from here, as you can see, I didn't add any more trusses or whatever you want to call them. And I still only have a little bit of duct tape left. But it only took one roll of duct tape to get all these joints taped up. So I guess I'll probably start on the back wall, but the plan is to insert cardboard all the way up the wall and all the way all around. I'll be inserting cardboard between the frame and there, and that's going to keep condensation, because right now there's a lot of condensation on the inside of the tent. That'll keep condensation from forming. And just this little guy, I tested it this morning and I brought it up a few degrees in here just by running that little burner for just a few minutes. So I'd imagine with the cardboard, you know, after I button it all up and have all the walls covered, you know, it'll heat it up real quick and keep it warm for a little bit of time. And another thing I'm going to do, I'm going to find blankets, and I'll string blankets against this wall and only that wall. And I might do cardboard as well. But that way, you know, I should have 2 blankets, like just regular sheets, cotton sheets. I have one overlapping to there and then the other overlapping to there. That way I could pull them apart and come in and out. And the doorway's a little tricky. There's not much space. I have to kind of duck my head under this part. Not because it's not tall enough. I could actually stand. Yeah, I mean, I could stand straight up, as you can see. And if I really extend, my head just hits the top. But other than that, it's, you know, I haven't had a dwelling that I could stand in quite a while. So that's very nice to have. So, yeah, I guess that's it for now. I mean, I'll show you in the future when I put the cardboard. But I am kind of, you know, I have to admit, I'm quite proud of this little thing. Let me take you outside and give you one more shot. Just love how it looks like those little nomadic houses that people use, and like, especially the Inuits nowadays, little tents that they use up there in the far north. But, you know, all those little imperfections, you know, even last night when I was lying down and I was looking up at the structure, all the cross members and stuff, I'm like, oh, this one's a little crooked. I had to remind myself, like, it was made with branches that are not perfect. But once you tarp it all up, I mean, you can't even tell. So this is going to be my home for a while. Like I said, I consider this a semi-permanent shelter. Eventually, obviously, the tarps deteriorate, which can be replaced. And even the poles inside and the tape holding it together will deteriorate. Deteriorate. That's not right. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. So, you know, but that's always replaceable. I could just get more duct tape and tape it up as they start, you know, coming loose or coming apart. But in my experience, duct tape holds up in the elements for about 2 years before it starts getting really bad. So and the tarps about 2 years also. So that's what I would expect out of this. All right, well, since I'm here, I wanted to show you guys how you could set up a bed platform with just one pallet. You see how I had to prop up this end to make it higher because it's kind of on a slant. But as you can see, I guess, well, not all pallets are the same. This one has 4 slats on that side and 3. But that's all you need to sleep on. And if this tent had a higher ceiling, I would double that up if I could and use 2 pallets. But this one, the bed, I'm on my way out. I'm on my way out of camp here. But the bed that I set up in the new shelter, I'm using 4 full-size pallets. And that's just to have extra platform space. So, but that's the minimum of what you need, just 1 pallet. Cut it down the right way and you can make a platform for yourself. And it makes all the difference. Now, once I get enough cardboard, I'm gonna replace the piece of cardboard that I took from that smaller platform and put it back in the small tent, and I'll make a new one for this new bed. That way that tent will be set up for a guest with the platform ready to sleep on. They just have to bring their own sleeping bag, I guess, and pillow or whatever. But I figured I'd keep that tent up, one, in case my tent fails. If my shelter fails at all, then I can kind of retreat to that smaller tent. And two, I mean, all the time people show up and they don't have anything anywhere to go. So I'll keep it in that case. I think I might have one friend coming here from Salem. Then she's tired of what's going on there too, and she might come up here, but I warned her. I mean, I'm all the way up on a mountain here. I mean, it's not a mountain, it's just it's the first set of foothills before, going east as you come off the coast. So it's kind of she's an older woman, advanced in age. I don't want to say it wrong, but so it will be a lot of walking for her, and I warned her. I have to go up and down hills every day, and I have to walk about 2 miles just to get to, place where the library is or whatever. Center of town is about 2 miles away, so it's not an easy trek, but it's good for me because it's giving me the exercise I need. That is how I like it, though. I mean, I really was getting tired of getting visitors at all times at my camp in Salem. And there's just not enough woods and too many people over there. Spending that time in Salem and being around addicts while not actively using myself really showed me that I learned a lot as an addict, and I learned what to look out for, and I didn't let anybody's games get in my way over there. But, the reality is it did get in my way because I just got sick of people like that. And it's a little hard to explain, but unless you've experienced it yourself, people just act differently and their motives are different. I mean, drugs are priority number one for an addict. And you have to really watch out because, you leave something like your guitar lying around and it's going to disappear real quick. And I mean, I'm still in the habit, even though I haven't had any visitors yet at this campsite. I'm still not going to chance my guitar going away because, there's people in this town too. I mean, drugs are everywhere. And luckily they're a little too lazy to come up this way, but as you can see, I mean, there's a bunch of needles at the old campsite. So the people that were here were addicts, but it looks like all the campsites that were here, people didn't stay long because it's so out of the way. I'm sure people got sick of it real quick. So anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. And if you were looking for a step-by-step on how to build a shelter, I'm sorry, that's not what I did. If you look up, what's the name? I believe it's called a wiki up, or that's not right. Anyway, you could look up specific how-to videos if you want to on YouTube. There's plenty of people out there that have built these kinds of shelters, maybe not exactly how I did it, but it's just the main concept of staking a hole, pulling that stake up, and sticking your live sapling in there so that you can bend it over, and then attach it, whether it's with duct tape or rope, or zip ties would work also. But zip ties, they can get a little expensive. They go quick. So I think duct tape is the best option for now. But yeah, so just like and subscribe. I'm heading to the library right now, actually, to edit and upload this whole thing. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Stay free.